Hi, my name is Ishmael and today we're going to be talking about environment, how it affects you and why it is important to have an environment that is supportive. So there is a saying going around that has been going around and various people quote it in different ways, but it basically says, show me your 5 friends and I will show you your future, or show me your friends and I will show you your future. Your environment is determined in where and how and what you will be able to achieve, because you are the sum of your nearest 5 friends. So the way this works is that if you are a rich person, then your friends are likely to be rich. If you're a poor person, your friends are likely to be poor, or the other way around. If you hang around with 5 people who are on minimum wage income, the chances are you're on minimum wage income. And if you're not, and you go up higher income, say they're on £15,000 a year, and you go up to £25,000 a year, there'll be an imbalance, and an imbalance will either mean you'll be pulled back down to their level, or they'll have to slowly work up. But because there's 5 of them and 1 of you, the chances are you're going to be pulled back down. It sounds strange, because how can your salary be determined by their salary? It is very strange to actually comprehend, but it is a fact that if you sit in an environment where everyone around you has no money to spend, then they feel like they don't have abundance of something, then what's going to happen is they're going to be limited to the ability of going out, experiencing things in the world and spending the money. So because they're not going out and experiencing things and going on holiday, you're not going to be going on holiday with them. And if you're not going on holiday with them, what's going to happen? You're either going to go on holiday alone, which people do, which is absolutely fine, or you are going to not be going on holiday and you're going to be spending your money some other way, and therefore you're not going to be relaxing in the same way. Now, if that is the case and you are trying to do all these activities, they're going to look at you and be like, oh, and you'll have nothing to talk about. Why? Because they haven't been on holiday. So when you're like, oh, last time I went on holiday, they're like, yeah, well, I didn't go on holiday. What should I say to this guy? He's like, yeah, I've been to Bahamas, I've been to Thailand, I've been to Spain, I've been to Cyprus, I've been to America, I've been to Gran Canaria. Well, we never even leave the country. We barely even leave the village or the town. Now this means that you lose conversation, and then the interaction with those people is not very relaxed, not very easy, and so the environment feels unnatural. And either you will drop back into the environment that they're in and then start talking and thinking and acting like them, or you will feel very uncomfortable in that environment and you'll feel like you need to find a new environment, which is the only way you will grow. If your environment is not growing with you, you need to find an environment that is growing with you, or is where you are at least. Generally they say if you're the richest person on the street, you're on the wrong street. Why? Because you've reached your cap. Everyone around you feels like they are basically trying to keep up with you, and because of that you feel like, well, what's the point in going further? You almost get pulled back, you lose motivation because you're like, well, no one else is doing anything. What's the point in me doing anything? I may as well just sit back and do what everyone else is doing. Why try and strive to be the best at everything in the world when no one else around me is actually doing anything? So you pull back and you get withdrawn, and so you stop growing. So your environment limits how you are. So you need to look at your environment. You need to look not only at your friends, but you need to look at your house. You need to look at how you live. You need to look at your vehicle. You need to look at everything in your environment. Now, it doesn't mean you have to go and buy a brand new car, but it does mean that if you have a car which is an old banger and it's running down and you have some money and you have an income, don't let that car, which keeps breaking down or keeps costing you a silly amount of money, don't let that car be the limiting factor, because it will, regardless of what you think, it will limit you. Now, if you get that car and it's a good car, it runs, it never breaks down and it's reliable, that's absolutely fine. It doesn't matter if it's 20 years old, 30 years old, 50 years old. If it's a reliable car, that's what matters. It doesn't matter the age, it needs to be reliable. If you have a reliable vehicle, then that is fine. But it's the same thing with everything around your house. If things aren't reliable, you need to change them for something more reliable. Because if it's not reliable, then it just seems to be pulling you back, because it's constantly getting on your nerves that something's breaking, something's this, something's that, and it's limiting you because your environment is limited, because it's constantly broken. And you don't want to live in an environment which is constantly broken. You want everything around you to be working and functional to a maximum of its capability. It needs to do the task it was designed to do. If it doesn't do the task it was designed to do, replace it. Now, if you keep doing this and you replace everything that doesn't do its task, then you will soon find that everything around you is supporting you. It helps you, it builds you. And if it helps you build, then what it will do is it will help you expand, it will help you grow, and it will help you reach new heights. These new heights can only be reached if your environment is a supportive environment. So, if you are finding that you're not being supported in any way, you need to find somewhere that you can get that support. It doesn't have to be a new group of friends, it could just be an online community, it could just be a group chat. It doesn't have to be anything that replaces the old, but it needs to help you support your new goals. You need to be working towards your new goals with the new support system. Because if you don't have a support system working with you to help you grow and things growing around you, then you won't be able to grow as quickly. It is very well known, if you look at a forest, if you plant one tree, you plant it on its own in the middle of a field, that tree will grow nice and slowly because there's no competition. There's no reason for it to grow, it doesn't need to grow. But if you plant a tree in a forest where the trees are 50 feet tall, what's going to happen? That little seedling is going to shoot up because there is absolutely no way it will survive in the very bottom for very long if it doesn't grow quickly enough to get the sun as it goes up between the leaves, and as it goes higher it gets more sun. Not only that, but being in a supportive environment like a forest, they've proven that what happens is the bigger trees actually, the nutrition comes from the leaves of the bigger trees into the roots of the bigger trees and gets released into the soil to help the little trees grow. And so being around the big trees not only pushes the boundaries of the little tree to grow, but it also actually, the bigger trees actually support the little tree's growth. So it has two methods of helping it grow. One is nutrition from the bigger trees, or knowledge in the case of humans, and two is the forced environment it is put in that it either needs to grow or it will struggle to survive. So these are two reasons why in the plant world it is very good to be around bigger, more advanced or better creatures, or in this case trees. But it is the same in the personal growth world, in your personal financial world. Everything relates. If you look at your personal world and you then say, well, I want to gain more finances, you need to find people who have more finances than you. You need to find richer people, as they say. If you're on 20,000 a year, you need to find people on 25, on 30,000 or more. If you're on 100,000, you need to find people on 150,000, 200,000 or more. You need to find people who are earning more money than you. Find out why they are earning more money than you by being around them, because their mindset is different. They are thinking differently, they're acting differently, they're talking differently, they're spending differently. And they're saving. That's the big one, if you're earning money, is saving. And this is all things the same in the personal growth industry. If you want to grow, what you need to do is you need to look at yourself differently. You need to look at your environment differently. You need to look at people who are growing. You need to look at people who are expanding their information. You need to look at people who are maybe reading books. You need to look at people who are doing whatever you want to do. Find those people, find that environment, make yourself be in that environment or force yourself into an environment, whether it's comfortable or not, it does not matter. Personal growth cannot always be comfortable because you only learn things on the edge of where you are capable of. The more uncomfortable you get, the more out of your comfort zone you are, and when you're on the edge of your comfort zone, it normally means that it's because you haven't been there before. If you're going and you want to expand, what do? You go somewhere you haven't been. If you want to know more knowledge, you go to someone who hasn't talked to you before, because that person may have some information you don't have. Whereas if you go and speak to the same people over and over again, or source the same information from the same place over and over again, the chances are you're not going to get a lot of new knowledge. So find somewhere else. Find the edge of your comfort zone and push. If you push past the edge of your comfort zone, you will grow faster. It's the same thing with muscles, it's the same thing with everything. Like, subscribe and click that bell notification icon to get notified of videos coming out each and every week, which will help you on your personal growth journey. It will help you on your to surround yourself with an environment where You are learning about personal abilities, you're learning about personal growth, you're learning about information, attitude, mindset, manifestation, and spirituality. Like, subscribe, and whack a bell notification icon, and keep up to date on the next video coming out each and every week.